What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hartz, and today I'll be breaking down the 7-game NBA slates we have here on DraftKings for Saturday night. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. I'll be going over my favorite spin-up plays, some in-range options, and some value plays for tomorrow's 7-game slates here on DraftKings. Also, make sure to follow my free Patreon link down below, or you could just view it. I'll be putting up more in-depth breakdown of my slate there. So yeah, check that out. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. As always, follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. I want to thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers again. Do truly appreciate every single one of you. Thank you guys. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. Answer questions you guys have. I'll put up my free Patreon there. You can also find it in the YouTube description below or in my link tree on my Twitter profile. But yeah, I always pin it. I go over my favorite spin ups, core plays, value plays, all that good stuff. The spread, pretty much everything is in there. Yeah, so make sure to check that out for tomorrow when I put it up. But yeah, let's get into the 7-game slates breakdown. Let's start off with the Clippers in Washington. For the Clippers, we have the news that Reggie Jackson is out, Powell's out, Man is questionable. So with now everyone back, not a lot of interest in this team. I was high on Paul George yesterday, and he was great. 32 minutes, 10 of 20, 52 fantasy points. So, with Kawhi Leonard back, Terrence Mann may be back. It doesn't really affect them that much, but yeah. With Kawhi Leonard back, it does kind of ruin the ceiling of Paul George a little bit. Now, I do think you can get risky and play Paul George there. He should see, about 33-ish minutes around there, as he saw the past 2 games. So he does have a ceiling. I don't mind it. It's just one of those things. It's very, very contrarian play there. He was super low owned last night, which helped, but he's probably going to be super low owned again just because of, that risk for him just not getting extended above 33 minutes. Kawhi Leonard is back. He should see maybe close to 30. At 7,100, you could take a shot there. It's kind of like a Chris Middleton play. They're very rusty. They're going to play about 30 minutes. Like, at their price tag, sure, you can do it, but I don't think it's necessary. Zubac, he's playable. Is that price tag? I do like it a little bit. He does have some upside. Yeah, I don't mind it here for Zubac. Moving on to the rest of the team. John Wall, just a contrarian play. You can get to him. He does have some upside, but, he will see probably close to 25 minutes at max. So I just don't think it's necessary at that elevated price tag of 5,900. Reggie Jackson out. Terrence Mann, if he's questionable, maybe he can open up some value. But if he's in, really not a lot of interest. Marcus Morris Sr., you can land on him if you want. He's just not the best point per minute guy. Batum played 32 minutes. Not sure why. Because he's just absolutely god-awful. And he just runs around out there doing nothing. But yeah. He got 3 straight games at 25 fantasy points or more. So if he's going to start again at 4,200, you can definitely go to him. But there's always that risk that he goes out there and puts up 10 fantasy points. Luke Kennard was back, played 24 minutes. That's kind of the average Luke Kennard game, unless he goes off from 3. Really going to get you only like 15 fantasy points. And then Covington was a letdown last game, played 7 minutes, got 10 fantasy points in those 7 minutes. He was really, really good. And then they didn't play him the rest of the game. So I'm not really sure why. I wouldn't be surprised if they played him like 20 minutes, even, with Kawhi Leonard back. But yeah, not a ton of interest on the Los Angeles side. On the Washington side, Porzingis had a very solid game tonight. Once again, going to be the leader of this team with Brad Beal still out. Kuzma, same thing. It's kind of the same breakdown for these guys on Washington for this game as they were tonight. Porzingis, Kuzma going to lead the team in scoring. Marcus or Monte Morris is there. Should see mid-30s minutes. I'm not sure how many minutes he got tonight. Denny had a really solid night. I think he got like close to 35 fantasy points. Yeah, the price hasn't changed. Do like him there. Kispert, the rest of the team is just kind of there. They do have these guys out. What to see if they get ruled in for tomorrow. A guy like Will Barton could, which would take a little bit of minutes away from a guy like Jordan Goodwin, but he had a solid night tonight. You can look to him at 4,300. But yeah, not a ton of interest in these guys. Unless we get some news with these kind of bottom tier guys that maybe one starting, maybe Will Barton's back, which could eat in 2 minutes of guys like, Goodwin. But yeah, it's really just Kuzma and Porzingis for me. Secondary play would be Morris. And I guess you could throw in Denny as like a tier 1 play alongside Porzingis and Kuzma for me. For Brooklyn, Indiana, great game environment here. KD 11K looks great. Kyrie, I still think he looks very solid at that price tag. I think he had a decent night tonight. Not really sure what he got fantasy point wise. I think high 30s, maybe low 40s. Ben Simmons is back, but he's going to be limited to around 20 minutes, I believe. He got the start tonight, but I think he's going to see 20 minutes for the next few games. Actually, he's not going to play tomorrow. So he's not playing tomorrow, so that obviously we have KD, Kyrie at the top. Claxton was out for tonight's game. We'll have to see if he plays tomorrow. If not, that will open up some value because they'll have both Ben Simmons and Claxton out. Russell Neal will be there at 5.5. We'll have to see if TJ Warren, I wouldn't think he would get the start. Maybe they'd probably bring him off the bench. Joe Harris, should see about 30-ish minutes, 4,300, don't mind that. But yeah, it really comes down to who they're going to start if Claxton's not back for that game, because obviously it's going to be KD, Kyrie, Royce O'Neal, and then who's the other two? I mean, that's a pretty small lineup going against Indiana, who has Miles Turner. I mean, it's doable, but they probably slide Joe Harris in there. Maybe they bring, I know they brought up De'Aaron Sharp from the G League, so maybe he slides in the starting lineup. We'll have to see, but yeah, there should be some value open on this Brooklyn side. We'll have to wait for that tomorrow. On the Indiana side, I love Halburn. The price really hasn't changed. Tonight, he was just average. I think he got 45 fantasy points. I think 23 and 11. So, yeah, I mean, I just love his ceiling. His price really doesn't move. He has like 60 plus potential. So I love him there at 9,300. Miles Turner, his price is slowly dropping. He has been great. The past 2 games he was. Tonight, he was not great at all. So I do like him here a good amount against Brooklyn. I think they played a few weeks ago. Yeah. And he put up 42, 23, 8, and 3. Not like, past performance really, matters too much. But yeah, I mean, he's too cheap. Same thing with Buddy Hield. I just think these guys on the Pacers side are just a little bit too cheap here. So I do have a good amount just in the top 3. Benedict Mathurin always there as like a secondary option. Pretty score independent, but a tournament play. Nembhard too pricey being alongside those top guys. Jalen Smith, he's just been very boomer bust recently. If you want to get risky and do it, sure, you can. I don't advise for it. I don't think it's a smart move. Aaron Nesmith has just been god awful, so excuse me. Don't think you need to go there. Duarte still out. Isaiah Jackson was out tonight. We'll see if he's back. If not, maybe that opens up a few more minutes for O'Shea Brissett, who's kind of up and down. TJ McConnell will get the backup point guard run about 15-ish minutes if he's lucky. So yeah, not a ton of interest. It's pretty just these kind of the top 3. If you want to get secondary, go to the other 3. But yeah. Moving on to OKC in Cleveland. We have SGA. We know the offense is going to run through him at 10-3, so he looks solid. Not the best matchup here against Cleveland, but we know it's SGA. Giddey does have some upside. He's more of a secondary play for me. It's just the minutes. That's the main issue with Giddey right now is the coach is not afraid to bench Giddey. Like, he'll bench everyone on the team besides SGA, so Giddey is very risky there at 7,100. We know he has huge upside, even playing alongside SGA, so if you want to roster him at 7,100, don't mind it. But once again, not the best matchup, and his minutes are in question. Ludor is just there. He's pretty much safe from the random benching, but, he'll shoot a good amount. He's just kind of there. That's kind of the take on Ludor. Not a bad play at 5,600. I'd probably prefer getting to like a Royce O'Neal over Lou, but they're kind of the same play. And then in terms of like the bench value guys, Jalen Williams is going to be your safest bet. Obviously not a high ceiling, but 4,200, not a bad price tag for him. JRE has kind of been the safest big, as you can see so far. Kind of getting close to 30 minutes. Not the best point per minute guy, but 4,100, can't complain there. Trey Mann, just random amount of minutes, 17, 16, 24, before that 27, 23. I mean, there's been people in and out of the rotation, so I mean, you could probably slot him in for 15 minutes. Don't think he's the best play. Poku's minutes are all over the place. If you want to take a shot on him, you could. But yeah, I really just kind of like staying, going to either a SGA or a secondary play as Giddey. Otherwise, not a lot of interest on the OKC side. On the Cleveland side, Mitchell was out tonight. We'll have to see if he's back, because if he is, it does change the slate. Let's just assume he's out. Like tonight, Garland was terrible tonight. I think he finished with like 35 fancy points at most, something like that. But yeah, I mean, if Mitchell's out, I do want to roster Garland again. Tonight he burned us, but do want to run it back because him at that price tag is way too cheap to be the main guy, main scoring guy for Cleveland. Mobley with Allen back, he's just a little bit too pricey to get to for me. Allen, decent play there in the mid-range. Really just prefer getting to Garland if Mitchell's out. If Mitchell's back, I do like either Mitchell or Garland. Probably Garland because of the cheaper price tag. Yeah, but if Mitchell's still out, you can go to Karis LeVert. I think he had a solid game tonight, like 34-ish fantasy points. Seti should see at least 20 minutes off the bench. Very up and down, boomer bust. I mean, just the rest of the team, they're pretty gross. It's really just kind of, If you want to get to a big play, I'd say Allen. If you want to get to one of the guards, if Mitchell's out, obviously play Garland or Levert. Mitchell's back. It's really just the top two for me. And if you want to get different, go to Allen. Moving on to Dallas and Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if Luka goes for 80 points in this one. 80 real life points, like 160 fancy points, because Chicago is terrible at defense. So 12-7 for Luka. Love that price tag in this matchup. No one's going to be able to guard him on Chicago, so it should be a field day for him. Christian Wood, Dinwiddie, Hardaway, all secondary plays. If you want to ride the hot hand, go to Hardaway Jr. If you want to go to a guy who's, if you want to buy a low on a guy, I'd say it's Dinwiddie. He does have some upside, even alongside those 2 or 3 other guys. Now, with Hardaway picking up the slack of scoring. I just kind of rank it as, Luka, obviously we know we're getting from him. Wood is just more of that contrarian boomer bust play there at 6,800, not the best price tag. Dinwiddie's price tag is decent. Hasn't been playing too well recently. You can buy low on him. And then Hardaway Jr. has been doing well tonight, or well the past few games. Not sure how he's going to do tonight as I'm recording this right as the game. It should be probably halfway through the second quarter. So, yeah, we'll have to see how he does tonight. Maybe that will factor into what we do with him tomorrow. But, yeah, not the best price tag for him, for a guy who is pretty score independent. But he's there. The rest of the team, DFS. Yeah, I mean, he's just been pretty much boomer bust at this point. Picking up a little bit the second 2 weeks of this month, or the past 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, him, Kleber, they're going to get the big man minutes. Bullock is off the bench. You could take a shot. But yeah, not a ton of interest in the value plays on Dallas. For Chicago, excuse me, DeMar, Zach, Vooch, the big three. If you want to go to the safest play, it's going to be DeMar. If you want to go to the riskiest with, I'd say the highest upside, it'd probably be Zach. And then I'd say a mix of that would be Vooch, riskiest and highest upside. If you put both Zach and DeMar together, that's kind of what you get with Vooch. So it's really just kind of a pick 'em when you want to go to either one of them. You can always get to 2. If you are, I'd say I tend to go to Vooch or DeRozan. But yeah, I mean, the price tags are pretty solid. It's just not a lot of interest for me right now. The rest of the team, I mean, they're all very cheap because no one else does anything right now. Caruso, we'll see the minutes, just not a solid point per minute guy. I mean, he could get you there in random games if he's doing very well stealing the ball, or if he's getting really lucky shooting the 3s or 2s. But yeah, not a lot of interest in the secondary pieces unless you're going to get to a guy like Patrick Williams, who is a solid value play. He should see at least 25 minutes, maybe into the 30s if he's doing decent. So yeah, I think he'd be my favorite play down there. Kobe White struggling to get back in rotation. 16-17, very, very score independent. Dragic really fell off. 11, so yeah, not a lot of interest besides the big 3. Moving on to Boston. We know we're going to get from Tatum, Brown, obviously a star-studded matchup here against the Golden State Warriors. If I was going to get to a guy, I think I prefer Tatum. Brown's price has kind of risen a little bit there at 8,800. Marcus Smart, just a contrarian play. We know he's going to get the minutes, 6,100. Don't mind going to him. Horford is going to be, he'll be out. So we'll probably get Blake Griffin again starting. Brogdon, 4,800. Yeah, I mean, it seems like he shoots 100% pretty much every game. So 4,800, do like his price tag there a good amount. Robert Williams is considered day-to-day. He won't play, but he should be back soon, which is obviously huge for that team, even though they're already stacked. Grant Williams, Derek White. I prefer getting to Grant Williams. He should slide into the starting lineup. 4,500, not a bad price tag. I mean, limited ceiling playing alongside the 2 stars, but he's there. And Blake Griffin, I don't think he need to do it. Should see about 20-ish minutes. He's been productive the past 2, but I think those are a little bit of outliers. 4,000 is not the best price tag for him. Really just stick with the top 2 guys. If you want to get different, go to a Grant Williams or a Marcus Smart. Moving on to the Golden State side, Steph looks very solid at 11-1. A little pricey, but we saw what happened when he played them in the playoffs. He was the whole team. He should be able to get his pool priced up a little bit too high for me. Even with Wiggins out. Actually, Wiggins might be back. All right, we'll have to see if Wiggins is back. I'm assuming he is. We'll have to see, but that's the big news. If he's back, you could get to pool. It'd just be a secondary play for me in a tournament option. Klay Thompson, the price has risen to 6,700. He's been solid the past 3 games. I don't know if I love that price tag for him. We know he has some very, very bad games. I think Draymond would be my second favorite play. Excuse me. Like a finals matchup. This would be one of those games where Draymond, has a chip on his shoulder. Proving that they were the better team as they won and that they're still the better team. So I think I get to Draymond as my second favorite play if Andrew Wiggins is not back. If Wiggins is back, I think it's just Wiggins and Steph for me. And the rest of the team, with everyone back, really don't think you need to jam any of the value guys in. You can always take a shot on a guy like DiVincenzo, who should see like 15-ish minutes off the bench, who could get you there, but at that price tag, don't think it's the best. Moving on to Utah and Denver. Laurie sat once again today. Same thing with Colin Sexton. So they started Clarkson, Olynyk, Beasley, Kessler, and I think it was Nigel. We'll have to see. I don't know how they finish because his game's still going on. But if we get that again, I think Olynyk's a little bit too cheap. Beasley, I think he's a great tournament option. Conley, I think he's limited on minutes. He's coming off the bench, played about 20. You can go back to Nigel. It just depends on how he does tonight. He could always, get his minutes cut for a guy like Mike Conley. But yeah, there's some news we have to wait for on this side. Kessler, I think he's only played 8 minutes tonight and it's almost halftime. So not sure why he's got to start again. He's super productive last game, but yeah, he's not doing well tonight at all. And yeah, I think it's really just kind of Beasley for me right now in Olynyk. But yeah, we'll have to wait on that news if Laurie or Sexton's back. Denver, Jokic, 11-5. Obviously a great matchup here. We know bigs go off against the Utah Jazz. So if you want to get up to Jokic, don't mind that. Jamal is questionable, big news, because I guess he's probable. So it looks like he's good to go. I don't mind getting to him here at 7,200. It's more of a contrarian play, secondary play for me. The rest of the team, Gordon's there, Bruce Brown's there. Not a lot of interest in this side. Bones. Yeah, it's just not a lot of interest besides a guy like Jamal Murray or Jokic for me. And then moving on to the last game. Minnesota, Portland. Minnesota's coming off a back-to-back tonight. Anthony Edwards is doing terrible, so if you want to buy low on him, maybe he bounces back tomorrow. It's really how he does all season. It's really like one bad game, next game good, one bad game, next game good. He was on a little bit of a heater here, but once again, shooting the ball a ton. Has been shooting it great. I mean, I guess decent. 47, 56, 45, 44, pretty solid. Not from three, but I guess from the field. Very solid getting steals, so 9,200, not the best spin up, but I don't mind it. Towns obviously still out. D'Lo, Rudy, I prefer maybe getting to D'Lo still, but they both have upside there. Do like them both a good amount. Anderson, 5,000, not the best price tag, but you can still get to him. Prefer getting to a guy like Jalen Noel off the bench, even though he's not playing a ton of minutes. Yeah, I mean, he's still there. McDaniels, seen, a decent amount of minutes. Sometimes they fluctuate, but it's really only if he's in foul trouble, which he is a little bit. But yeah, you could go to him if you want. Don't love it, don't hate it. Yeah, not a strong take for this team. McLaughlin may be the best value at 3,600 now. He should see backup point guard, shooting guard run. And that's really it. It's really just kind of the big three. Anthony Edwards, D'Lo, and Gobert are going to do most of the scoring. Anderson and Noel you have productive days off the bench, but not a ton of interest on Minnesota. And then Portland, I think Dame looks great. He was key for us last night. 72 fantasy points. I talked about how he could go for 50. He only went for 40, but yeah, 72 was great. Led me to a 3 times night, which is great. But yeah, 10-1 for him. Still like him coming off that huge game. Simons, Grant, Nurk. If you want to get to one of them, I prefer Nurk. Simons and Grant are a little bit too expensive for me playing alongside Dame. Yeah, Nurk's been decent recently, so I do like him. Hart, Winslow are both questionable. Obviously, if they're out, looks like Hart should be good to go. We'll see Winslow. Yeah, it looks like they're both good to go. So with that, you get to a guy like Winslow. He's a decent value play there. Eubanks is questionable. He played the last game, 17 minutes. Decent point per minute guy. So yeah, not a lot of interest in the value. If I was going to get to someone, it'd be Eubanks. But yeah, it's really just Dame for me. And that's really it for the slate breakdown, guys. So if you guys want to stay or check out my core plays for tomorrow, make sure to tune in to my Twitter at HeartDFS and my free Patreon, which will be linked down below. And I'll probably have that right up out, I'd say by 11 or 12 Eastern. So stay tuned for that. If not, I'll have it out by like 1 or 2 Eastern at latest. So yeah, make sure to hit the like button. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.